Christopher Nolan was born in London, England on July 30th, 1970. Since his directorial debut, 1998's Following, he has arguably been known as the master of drama, creating some of the most memorable films in history. Some of his most prolific movies include Memento, The Prestige, and The Dark Knight. These three movies seem to have one thing in common. They are incredibly good at getting into the audience's head. Christopher Nolan uses his camera angles, color, and editing techniques to get into the audience's mind and manipulate how they perceive time and the scenery. One of the ways Christopher Nolan gets into his audience's head is by using various camera angles. Not only does Christopher Nolan have some of the most memorable shots in all of film history, but it seems that he puts you right in the middle of anything that's going on. One of his most memorable shots was the scene in The Dark Knight where Batman is looking over a building that just blew up. The image of a shadowy vigilante on broken wreckage will forever be stapled into many people's memory. This is one of the examples of how The Dark Knight and The Prestige are known for putting you in the middle of the action. Anything that's going on doesn't happen without the camera being almost the center of it or being involved in some sort of way. But it seems that the main focus of Christopher Nolan when it comes to camera angles is immersion, which means putting you in the middle of the action just like the characters on screen. When referencing Christopher Nolan's various films and camera angles, Rotten Tomatoes says, quote, Christopher Nolan established himself as a creator, psychologically demanding films that defied classification. Christopher Nolan's movies aren't shot like normal movies. They aren't shot in the typical action movie style way. They aren't shot in the typical dramatic movie style way. It seems that they have an own category. Christopher Nolan movies are shot like Christopher Nolan movies. That's what makes them so unique with their camera angles. Another way Christopher Nolan has been known to be the one to get into an audience's mind is by their use of color. Looking back on certain movies like The Dark Knight and Memento, it seems that color is one of the most driving factors of the movie. Let's take a look at Dark Knight, for example. In The Dark Knight, you have that scene where Harvey Dent is being driven to what is presumed to be a maximum security prison. Right in the middle of a cold black and blue street is a burning fire truck. Not only is this scene cleverly ironic, but it is also an eye grabber. Before, audience members were looking anywhere they can to try to find out what was significant about that one specific shot. Then it hits them. The bright red coming from the center. The obstruction to the cars, the thing that drives the plot forward. It's all about coloring. The Dark Knight has a very black and blue color scheme, making anything that's not black and blue stand out. And Christopher Nolan knows that, which is why he saves those specific not black and blue colors for things that are important to the plot, things that are important to the story, and things that are important to the characters. Now let's look at Memento, a movie infamous for breaking down the stereotype of how movies should be told. While Memento has normally colored shots in the movie, it is also interspliced with monochromatic shots of the main character on the phone. Spoiler warning, but it is later revealed that those shots are happening before the events of the movie take place. These kinds of color choices are chosen to make you rethink what you just saw. You presume that everything was happened by a step-by-step sequence, scene by scene, moving towards the future, as you would with any other movie. But this movie just flips it on its head, saying all the black and white shots are flashbacks. All the regular shots are stuff that's happening now, and even then, that's reversed. When ranking Christopher Nolan movies from worst to best, Chitwood from Collider.com said, quote, Memento is where Nolan truly flourished into a guy you had to pay attention to. And I think this, combined with the camera angles, really furthers that point. Christopher Nolan became the director that you would have to pay attention to every single shot if you wanted to understand the ending. And he can hide plot points and plot clues with just the colors on screen. One of the last reasons as to why Christopher Nolan is a director that knows how to get into the audience's head is by his use of editing and editing techniques. As we just discussed with Memento, it's a story that is told backwards. Each scene ends with how the previous one started. Interspliced between those scenes are the flashback phone calls. And then once you get to the end, the monochromatic colors and the normal colors blend, so you know that this is really where the movie starts. The whole thing in the beginning, literally showing what would be the resolution of the movie in the very beginning, tricking you into thinking that it's the rising action. Now, looking at The Prestige, you see a completely different yet similar way of storytelling. Within the movie, until the climax, there are two flashbacks simultaneously happening of a character reading someone's journal and then a character reading another person's journal. The same person. They're interspliced. Much like the actual movie itself, it's a game of cat and mouse. Who can one-up the other? And it's intersplicing between one character's narration and the other character's narration. One character's side of the story and the other character's side of the story. And it doesn't feel confusing or that you're being lost. It feels like you're being pulled along. You don't know who to believe. You don't know who to trust. And I think that's what Christopher Nolan wanted to do with The Prestige. It's all about that last action. Just like in a magic show, The Prestige is where it all counts. A great script can make a good movie. Great editing can make an amazing movie. But take a great script and great editing and a layer of mystery, and you got yourself a fantastic movie, much like the two examples that I just brought up. Going back to that article talking about Christopher Nolan's best to worst ranked movies, Chitwood again says, quote, "It speaks to his overall philosophy when it comes to storytelling, and its themes are prevalent in nearly every single one of his films." In conclusion, Christopher Nolan stands out as a director with his use of color, camera angles, and editing in order to get into the audience's mind. Time is perceived in a different way in his movies than any other movies. Anything can be happening at any time, and it'll all make sense by the end. But with a little shroud of mystery, making you want to revisit each movie again and again and again. You'll know a Christopher Nolan movie when you see one, based on its color choices, based on the way it's put together, based on how it looks, how the shots are. And I think that's what's really beautiful about Christopher Nolan's movies. He is not only the master of drama, but he seems to be the master of time perception and scenery.